I didn't get the Gemara on yet. 1 second, please. I'm sorry, that wasn't prepared. So on Daf Yud Zayin. Okay. So the Gemara has been discussing a contradiction between Maseches Talmud and Maseches Midos, where the location of the Lishkas Atlam was in the Lishkas Beis HaMoked. So there were 4 chambers over there, and there was a contradiction if it's in the northwest or in the southwest. We'll put up a diagram soon to go through the Gemara, but that was the general contradiction. And the first text we had so far was Avaya that said, Rav Huna, I'm sorry, that said that it's not a machlokis. The machlokis in Midos and Talmud is 2 different authors. The author of Maseches Midos is Rav Elazar ben Yaakov, and yesterday's Gemara at length went to prove that point, that the author of Maseches Midos is Rav Elazar ben Yaakov. First brought one proof from the fact that Rav Elazar ben Yaakov spoke up and said, I don't know which chamber is the one of the in the Ezras Noshim. One of them he didn't know which one it was. The southwest he didn't know what it was used for. Obviously he was talking about, he wouldn't have said he doesn't know. And the other proof was after all the cheshbonos that the necessity to make the eastern wall of the Har Havai short in order that there should be a straight vision from Har Hazeisim only fits according to Rav Elazar ben Yaakov, says that Ezra's Kohanim was elevated 1 more amma, and that's why it would have blocked it wouldn't have been a direct vision to the floor of the Heichel. But according to Rabbanan, it wouldn't have been necessary. That was the yesterday's survey. So the answer to us to be focused back on the Kasha, terrace, the Kasha was, where's Lishkas Atlam? Contradiction, southwest, northwest, and the answer was Machlokas. And now the Gemara continues in Daf Yud Zayin now to offer another terrace. And that is over here on the second line. His answer is that it was both. The optical illusion can make it look from the southwest or the northwest. It depends which side you're coming from. You see, Rashi says it was along the western side of the Beis HaMoked. This Lishkas Atloim, the Lishka where they had the animals, was long, and it was you'd be able to see it on either angle. When you came from the south, it would look that it's more northward because it did extend until the north. If you came from the north entrance, then you would see it as if it's in the southern corner because it extended to the south also. So therefore, it's not a contradiction. If one Brisa called it the northwest, one called it the southwest, they're both true because it depends where you're looking from. It depends from your viewpoint. If you're looking at it from the north or from the south. The case of the Beis HaMikdash, where it says Maseches Tamid that the Mamunah said to the Kohanim on that day's Avod, they go to the Lishkas Atlam and get a sheep for the Korban Tamid. It's in the south. It's in the northwest because they were coming in from the Beis HaMikdash to go into that lit chamber. So it comes out they're coming in from the south, and they will see it more that is. They will see it on the north side, from the angle that they're coming in. But they're both true. Rashi says the word Atsu Mekatzia means Mikzoa, Lashon of Mikzoa, which means a corner, which means it was on both corners. That's the answer that he says. Now the Gemara continues. Umestavra with 4 lines from the bottom. Umestavra the Marav is Drom is Havoy. Even though from your vantage point, it could look either way. It could look southwest, it could look northwest, but it's reasonable to think that it was really southwest. It means it was more to the south than it was to the north. Even though it's extended to both sides and it could look like either side, but it was really more officially, it was going to be the southwest, which would fit with the Mishnah in Maseches Midos. Over there it said the Farish that's in the southwest. In Maseches Tamid it said northwest. So we're saying that it could be either one. You could look at it either way. But if you want to take the Mishnahs and Midos literally, it says over there that was the southwest, and now the Gemara is going to say that that's, take it literally, take that it was southwest, and the Mishnah and Talmud also, even though it says that it looks northwest, it's really also officially more southwest. And now he's going to explain how he knows that. So the Gemara is very short, and to explain it without visual aid would be pretty hard probably. So if I could put on a chart to, I think it'll make it much easier. My chart that I made here is looking at the west as on the top. Usually the north is on the top on all the maps. I put, and also in the Gemara also they put the east on the top. I put the west on the top because when you're looking at the base of Mikdash, the front of the base of Mikdash is westward. So if you're coming from the east to the west, the direction of the base of Mikdash, so the west is in the front. So I hope it's okay with everybody. The way that it's configured over here. So just on the left chart is what it says in Maseches Midos. Over there, there's no question what it says. It says openly that it says the southwest was the Lishkas Atlan. That's where the sheep were, and it says that the southeast was the place where they made the Lechem Apanim. The northeast was the stones of the Mizbeach that were defiled by the Yevanim, and they made a Geniza over there. And northwest was the place of the tefillah where the Kohanim went down to the mikveh. The Gemara doesn't discuss most of them. The Gemara so far just discussed the tlum, the sheep. Just to jump a second to the Mishnah and Talmud, over there, the Mishnah didn't say all the directions where they are, it just said tlum, it didn't say anything else. It just said tlum is in the northwest. And that was the seeming contradiction. Is it in the northwest or is it in the southwest between Midas and Tom? That was the kasha we were talking about. And then the list over there, all it says that is, besides this Tlum, there's also 2, 3, and 4. If you look at the bottom over there, the list is Chosamos, Moked, Lechem Apanim. Just to point out that not 2 out of 4 are not the same that it says before by Midos, Tefillah and Avnei Mizbeach. That the Gemara doesn't discuss, does that contradict? Taisha says it could be multi-functions. It could be that it had 2 functions. It might have had Chosamos and also Avnei Mizbeach, Tefillah, and Moked. It could be together, but that's not the Gemara's not going to discuss that. So the Gemara's not discussing that, but the Gemara is going to discuss now the Lechem Apanim. Is there a contradiction between the two Masechtas where the Lechem Apanim chamber was, the chamber where they baked the Lechem Apanim? So Maseches Midos says openly that it was in the southeast. That's Beferish. It says not only a list. It says it's in the southeast. The Mishnah Midos says in the southeast was the chamber of Lechem Apanim. Here it doesn't say, in Maseches Talmud it doesn't say, but it says Tlaim, and then it says 2, 3, 4. The Gemara holds that it's Pashat, that the order that it says 1, 2, 3, 4, Tlaim, Chosamos, Moked, Lechem Apanim, obviously is saying it in the order. It's not just randomly saying the 4. It's going to be in some order. And if you look at the diagram I made here, I hope that it's going to be clear that I made a numbers 2, 3, and 4. Instead of writing it out each time, I made 2, 3, and 4. So there's the choice of either going what we would call counterclockwise or clockwise. If you count from the Tlum, imagine first of all, I was going to imagine that the Tlum was in the southwest. The northwest. The way it seems on the diagram. If you want to come here or look on your screen, if you have a screen, that'll help. So if you take the Mishnah and Talmud literally, the face value that the Tlum is the southwest. So you have 2 choices how to count the other 2, 3, and 4. Either counterclockwise, that would be the green, 2, 3, and 4. And 4, which is the Lishkas Lechem Apanim, would come out to be in the northeast, which is not the same that it says in Maseches Midos. Maseches Midos says with the southeast. The other choice is to count, what is that, the brown numbers. So that count, if you count from the Tlum, you go 2, 3, 4 clockwise, you get 2, 3, 4, and the 4 will end up to be in the southwest, which also is not what it says in Midos. Midos says in the southeast. So that's a contradiction. I mean, still now we ask the contradiction in Lishkas Tlum. Was that the northwest or was it southwest? And Ad Gemara said, we answered that it's we're not saying it's a machlokus. We said that it's a long one, and you can see it depends where you're coming from. Are you come from the south, coming from the north? But Ad Gemara wants to say that really that if you count accurately, it is going to be on the southwest. It was really on this corner, southwest. Because if it was in the northwest, no matter how you're going to count the other 2, 3, and 4, you're not going to end up with the Lechem Apanim being in the southeast. It's either going to be in the southwest or it's going to be in the northeast. It's not going to be in the southeast. So, and in Maseches Midos, it says in the southeast. So it must be that's really, when we say Tlom over there, we said it's Nishtaher, it's someplace on the western wall, western side, but we'll say that really, officially, it was more closer to the southwest. And therefore, if you're going to count clockwise, 2, 3, and 4, it is going to come out to be in the southeast, and that would fit. It would be the same. It would be similar to what it says in Maseches Midos, that it's in the southeast. So that's how the Gemara is coming out. That if you want to say there's no machlokas between the two Masechtas, so then we're going to say that even though it seemed when you came into from the south, it seemed that the Lishkas Atlam was north. You see it on the corner, but really it was on both. It was long, extended on both sides, and really, it was closer to the southwest, and that makes it reconciled with the Mishnah Midas exactly, both as far as the Lishkas Atlan and also as far as the Lishkas Lechem Apanim, if you count clockwise, and that would be like the diagram over here, the lower diagram, that Lishkas Atlan was in the southwest. And then it counts as Chosamos, Moked, Lechem Apanim. Lechem Apanim comes out to be the southeast, and that's reconciled with Maseches Midos. In short, that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara is very short, and thus we can see if it's okay, I'll leave the screen on and just read the Gemara. The Gemara says 4 lines from the bottom. Omestavra, the Babylonian drum is Havoy. And it's more reasonable. We said before, 1 line up, we said that it's alongside the western wall, western side of this lishka, of this big lishka, and it could be seen from either side. But now the Gemara says, but Mistavra, that it really is closer to the southwest, even according to the Mishnah of Tamid. Why is that necessary to say? Since there's a contradiction between Tamid and Midos, which location was the lishka of the bakers of the Lechem Apanim? Mark Rav Huna ben Yeshua answers the question by saying that the two Mishnayos, Midos and Tamid, one of them counted to the right, one of them counted to the left. One of them counted clockwise, one of them counted counterclockwise. It means in Maseches Midos, when it says the four, it says also the location of each one in Maseches Tamid. It says southwest, northwest, it says each one. But when it counts them in the order of Lechem Apanim, Avnei Mizbeach, and Tefillah. It goes in the order that we would call, is that right? I got it wrong. They count it, 1 second, I made a mistake. How does it count? It counts it. It counts it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. It counts it from Tefillah, Lechem, Avnei Mizbeach, Tefillah. So it's counting counterclockwise. Again, right? Not the way the clock goes.
In Midos.
In Midos, it listed it out counterclockwise.
So yesterday, it's always counterclockwise. So that's before we.
I don't think we spoke about it yesterday. This is today's sugya. So here it counts it counterclockwise, and maybe I don't think
because you said that in order to get to go right and to reach the northeast side. To do the sprint.
That was Chaim Tov was talking about the Gemara 2 days ago, which the Gemara is going to bring in. Over there it says you're supposed to go to the right.
Right.
But the Gemara, we'll see in a second that the Gemara's right is going counterclockwise. If you're going right,
you're going right counterclockwise.
Good. So here, right. In Midos is going counterclockwise, and it counts Klein, Lechem, Avnei Mizbeach. That's called counterclockwise,
okay, that's true.
And that's called going to the right. It's not the way. Just point out that when we say. We look at the clock, we say the clock is going to the right. The dial is going to the right. That's because you're in the center and you're looking all around, that's going to the right. But if you look on the outside, you want to walk around the clock. So then you're going, if you go clockwise, if you're going clockwise, you're going to the left. Yeah. The Gemara calls going to the right, but the Gemara looks at it, not that you're in the center of the clock, the Gemara looks at it that you're outside the clock going around. So the Gemara calls the derech yamin, but the Gemara counts, that's called going to the right. When the Gemara says going to the right, the Gemara means counterclockwise.
Right. You arrive at the clock and you turn right. You walk up the ramp and you turn right.
Yes. Okay. That's called counterclockwise. So the Maseches Midos, the list is Tefillah, Lechem, Avnei Mizbeach. That's called the Mishnah is listing it counterclockwise. Okay. And now the Gemara, Rav Huna ben Yeshua's the teretz to answer the kasha is that the Mishnah Tamid is counting it. Clockwise.
Yeah, are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to change it?
That's meeting Gemara's kasha on our base.
But he counted
clockwise. Right, that's a good kasha. But he's counting it clockwise, and therefore We'll see the Gemara is right away. The Gemara says if you start with the Tefillum to be in the southwestern corner and you count clockwise, so 2, 3, 4, it's going to end up. That's the answer. That it's also in the southeastern corner. Lachem Panim is southeast. Now the Gemara speaks it out why it's good and why it wouldn't be good. And Amud Beis in the top. If you say that in the Maseches Talmud holds that the Lishkas Hatlon, number 1, was in the southwestern corner, then it'll be a good teretz. Then if you start in the southwest and you count clockwise, 2, 3, 4, you'll end up that the Lechem Hapanim is also in the southeast, and very nice. Fits with Maseches Midos. But if you say that the Mishnah Talmud really means that the Tlam was in the northwestern corner, and when you count, even if you count clockwise, you're not going to end up. You're going to end up 2, 3, 4. You're going to end up to be in the southwestern corner. You didn't reconcile the two Mishnayos. So. Mighty Woods of Lachem Hapanim. There's no what's the answer going to be? You didn't answer the kasha. If you started from the northwestern corner, even if you go clockwise, you're not going to end up in the southeastern corner. So you must say that the Mishnah Talmud means that it really holds also that it's really closer to the southwestern corner. And when he counts 2, 3, 4, he ends up that the Leshkas Lachem Hapanim is also in the southeastern corner, and it's reconciled with the Mishnah Midos. That's all this again is just a fundamental of Yeshua, because Abba yesterday said he didn't see this whole teretz. He said they're arguing, and they could argue on the throne, they could argue Lechem Hapanim, everything could be arguing. But the fundamental of Yeshua, who's that? About the Beder of Yitzchak that wanted to reconcile the two Mishnayos. So in order to reconcile the Lishkas Lechem Hapanim, he must say that the Lishkas Hatlam was mamish southwest, and then when he counts clockwise, it'll end up to be in the southeast. The Gemara asks now Chaim question. We're about 6 lines from the bottom, from the top. That was what we had 2 days ago over there. It's talking about going around the Mizbeach. When you're putting the blood of the Mizbeach, so you go up the ramp, you go to the right, and that's called Limin. You're supposed to go right. So the kasha was, so how could you count clockwise? Counting clockwise is counting to the left.
Right. Counting clockwise, you're going right. You're going right, and then
that's good. Yes. How could you count? How could you say the Mishnah Talmud is counting clockwise? It's going to the left.
Right.
That's the kasha. You shouldn't count to the left. You should always count to the right. Counting to the right means counterclockwise.
Right.
I would have said myself. I would have answered. Depends where you count. If you're in the center, if you're looking at when you're counting, it could be that you're counting. You're in the center, as if. But the more that you're outside. You're counting from the outside, as if you're going around. When you're counting it, also you're looking at it from the outside. So the more it says, go to the right. Count rightward. The more answer is, I have a kasha here from last time we learned Yuma. I don't know how many years ago is it? Did we learn Yuma together?
Yeah,
many years ago. So I have a kasha here from Chaim David Sirachik.
From then?
Yes. So the kasha was that in the Mishkan, when it says that the Galim, I guess in Parshas Bamidbar, Parshas Naso, when it lists the different sides of the Mishkan, where each Shevet is, the Shvatim are camped. So over there, it also counts it clockwise. So the most asking kasha on this pshat, it's a kasha in the Chumash. The Chumash itself says counts things clockwise. Also, someone asked a kasha from Eretz Yisrael when it says that the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael also goes clockwise. So, but the more answer is going to answer the kasha. But just interesting that the more didn't point it out from the Chumash itself.
Eretz Yisrael starts from the northwest and then goes to the east and then down south. You have to look in the Chumash where it counts the boundaries. Where does it count it from? I think it starts from the south. It goes from the southeast, and then it goes it says the southern border. Then it goes Yam HaMelech to the north, and then it goes the northern border. Then it goes down to the Yam HaMelech. So the pasuk is also listing them out in the clockwise way, which the Gemara says you're supposed to count to the right. And the Gemara sees the right as not you're standing in the middle looking around, but you're standing outside, then you're going around. So go to the right. So that's the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara answers, Avoda means when you're actually doing the avoda, you're going around. When you're actually going around, you go to the right. But chushbana means you're just saying from nothing, no one's going anyplace. You're just looking at it, and you're calculating different sides, what it is, which side it was. Then there's no kpeda. It sounds like it's only a chushban balma. It's not you're not doing anything. When you're actually walk to the right, go around the mizbech. But here you're just saying the location of everything. So you're not inside, you're not outside, you're not marked with right, left. You can say any order that you want. That's what the Gemara seems to say. Okay, if that's good. just put on, just see if anybody, I don't see what everybody's saying. So if everybody's happy with all that Gemara, so we can go further now. So just to sum up what the Gemara said, that was a big hafsaka, like 2 daf. It came in mamash on a tangent because the Gemara came in with Talmud and Nido, Talmud and Yuma as far as something else about what the state of the avoda was, the Ktoros and the Neris. So because I got a big bonus, a bonus of 2 daf about the lishkos of the lechem of the Beis HaMoked. Where was the tlum? Was it on the southwest, northwest? Abaye said there's machlokes. Midas is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. We got a lot of information yesterday about the Beis HaMikdash, both about Ezras Nashim and also about the terrain of the Beis HaMikdash going higher and the eastern wall, if it's short or not. After that, we got also about the whole dimensions of the 187 by 135, and if the Mizbeach is at the center or not. All that came out as a big bonus. Today, we went further back to the main subject about of the tangent, the subject of the main subject of the tangent, which was if the tlum was in the southwest or the northwest. And then says the teretz to reconcile everything that it really was in the southwest. And you came in from the south. The optical illusion made it sound like it's on the north. So I said, go to the north, but really it's officially more to the south. And then there's also, you could count clockwise and come out that Lechem Apanim is also going to be in the southeast, which the Gemara seems to want to reconcile the both Mishnayos together. Midos and Talmud, everybody knows that the Lishkas Lechem Apanim was in the southwest of the Lishkas Beis HaMoked.
Talmud and Midos are the same letters, except that Midos has a yud in it, and Midos has a vav in it, but the rest of the letters are the same.
Nice. Okay, so now back to the Gemara. I guess we could, we don't need that screen anymore, and back to the text. So it said in the Mishnah that during the 7 days of the Avoda, the Kohen Gadol should practice doing the Avoda. So therefore, every day of those 7 days of seclusion in the Beis HaMikdash, so he does this Rikas Adam and Maktik Torah, Meitifas Neiros, and he also has Makir Rosh Baregel, that the limbs of the Korban, he's the one who puts it on his bail. And it says on those 7 days he's supposed to do it. The rest of the year, whenever he wants to, he could. Kohen Gadol Makir Chelek B'Rosh, Not Chelek B'Rosh. That Kohen Gadol has the right anytime during the year that he's allowed to be makriv, first choice of what he wants to do, and also when they're giving out portions of the kashim to eat, so he has the right to pick first what he would like to get. Tan Rabbanan, case said makriv chelek b'rosh. What is the ramification? What's the example? What would it mean that he's makriv chelek b'rosh? Omer, all the zuani makriv, mincha zuani makriv. He has the right to say, I want to be makriv this korban olah, this korban mincha. It sounds a little bit, even if it will be a korban yochad, I can't say for sure, but that's what it sounds like. That any korban he wants to be makriv, he has the right to do it, and not only a limb. It sounds like he can do the whole korban. He can do the whole korban if he wants to. Not only that he gets online and he goes first, like the rosh and the regular, but he can do the whole thing if he wants to. Okay, what's an example of saying that he gets the first portion when they're giving out kachim, that he eats it? This is surely a korban yachid, that someone brought a sin offering or someone brought a guilt offering, so he has the right to eat it. It usually goes to the mishmar of that week. They divide it amongst themselves and they eat it in the Azara, but he has the right to say that he wants it, and he could get the whole thing. Then the Brisa continues and says, now it's talking about the Shtei Lechem on Shavuos. Get the Shtei Lechem coming up, Shavuos, and there's 2 breads, and that's made out of chametz, by the way, chitim, chametz, and it says that he gets 1 out of the 2. That all the Kohanim over there, on the Chag, not only the Mishmar, but all the Kohanim of Am Yisrael, they come, everyone's all the regular, and all the Kohanim are there, all 24 Mishmaros, and they divide the Shtei Lechem. And the Shtei Lechem, the Kohen Gadol gets half. Out of the 2, he gets half, he gets 1, and all the Kohanim get the other 1. Of course, he can give it to other people also, but he has a right to get 1 out of 2. And then it continues about the Lechem.
How big are those?
The Haza, there's a Mishnah talk about the size, how big they were. Shtei Esromim. Shnei Esromim. I think Chametz Tiyana. I think that says Shnei Esromim.
Not big. It's not small.
Okay, everything's relative.
I mean, relative.
Then the Mishnah talks about Lechem Apanim. The rest of the Sugya today talks about Lechem Apanim. Lechem Apanim was the showbread, and it was on the Shulchan in the Beis HaMikdash, and there were 2 rows of 6 each, 12 altogether. And this week's Parsha, by the way, Parsha Zemor, has about the Lechem Apanim. Very beautiful. We come across different learnings. As they say, some people say it's a good simon, and I thought a very simple thing that it's a good simon that you're learning a lot. if you learn two different things, then you come across, they cross paths, it must be learning a lot of things. So,
Reb Scheinberger never takes it, he never gets excited because it's to him, it's like normal. He's so used to it.
yeah.
And he never makes the whole
Yeah.
thing
I
out
don't
of
think
it.
it's not a simon, the Nashama. I think it's a simon that you
Yeah,
can,
yeah, that
you can see that
we're
you're learning.
supposed to be doing. So of course,
Of
of course, what you're learning should be
Yeah,
showing up.
they should be called. Okay, now it talks about how many of the lechem upon does the Kohen Gadol have a right to take. So as we know, there are 12. There are 12 breads. So the beginning of the price is going to be pretty ambiguous. It says, "Arba chomesh me'ma'aser lechem upon." He gets 4 or 5. 4 or 5 is very like, is it 4? Is it 5? How many does he get? By the Sheh lechem, it says he gets 1 out of 2, which is half. By the lechem upon it says he gets 4 or 5, which is not half. Half would have been 6. So we'll get to that soon. And Rebbe
Sorry,
Yomer,
excuse me. Where did the town of Banan end?
we're still in the middle.
We're still in the middle, and so I had here if he says Chatu ze ani ochel, Asham ze ani ochel, and then the next part, is that where we are up to, or we did this line?
Oh, yes, we're continuing. That the Brisa says that he also has a right to get 1 out of the 2 Shtei Halachim on Shavuos. It's all part of the Brisa.
V'nota chala mishtei chalos, period,
Comma,
comma.
right? Or period. Okay,
Okay.
semicolon, whatever. He has a right on Shavuos to get 1 out of the 2 Shtei Halachim.
Mhm.
There are 2 breads that are bought on Shavuos, and he gets 1 out of the 2. And then the rest of the Brisa talks about how many does he get of the Lechem Apanim every week. The Lechem Apanim is divided every Shabbos, and they put on the new bread on the table for the next week. You put it on. The changing of the bread was on Shabbos, and it stayed on the table for the whole week. And then the next Shabbos was taken off and divided and eaten by the Kohen. And now it says the Kohen Gadol has a right to get a significant share of the Lechem Apanim. By the Shtei Lechem, he gets 1 out of 2. By the Lechem Apanim of every Shabbos, he gets. Here it says Tanakama says he gets 4 or 5, which is l'chora out of the 12. We start with 12 l'chora, and it says he gets 4 or 5. That has to be explained. How do you get 4 or 5? Well, what's the cheshbon? By the Shtei Lechem of Shavuos, he got 1 out of 2, and now he gets 4 or 5 out of 12, and also with 4 or 5. Which one? Which one does he get? We'll see in the Gemara. Rabbi Omer la'olam chamesh. Rabbi says he gets 5, not 4 or 5. He gets 5. Shenemar v'yisaranu levanov. This is this week's parsha that it says that the lechem upon him goes to Aaron and his children. Mersalam and Mersal levanov. It's the pasuk on the pasuk is it goes to the Kohanim, Aaron and his children, all the Kohanim. But you might have even thought that he gets it equally. Aaron gets the equal share, but as any Kohen. But it says no, he gets the equal share to the rest of the Kohanim. Mersal levanov, Aaron, Mersal levanov. That's
It's
interesting.
10. It's 10.
So very interesting. Rabbi says that he gets half, which is 5. That means it's only 10. We know that it's 12. So that needs explanation. Tanakama also said, he said 4 or 5. No one's talking about 6. So Rabbi says that he holds half. There are one, Tanakama might hold less than half, but it still has to be explained why 4, why 5. But Rabbi says that he gets half, and he says half is 5. That means that you have a total of 10. That doesn't make sense because you have a total of 12. So the Gemara is going to get to that. Rashi says that the Gemara is going to talk about it. We'll see soon. How come 2 of them are not in the count? Okay, but the Gemara is going to analyze it as follows. Hagufa kasha. The Brisa is inherently difficult. I'm with notal chala achas mishtei chalos mani Rabbi. The Gemara understands that according to Rabbanan, they hold he got less than half. The Kohen Gadol gets less than half. He can't get half. He has to get less than half. Tosha says that it's not covered, even though the Kohen Gadol is the Kohen Gadol, but he should get equal to everybody else, a bit less. He should get a bit less. So the Rabbanan say that he gets less than half, and the Rabbi holds you get half. That's how we're gonna try to explain the Brisa, and I think it is gonna work. That the Rabbanan say consistently the Kohen Gadol gets less than half, and Rabbi's gonna say he gets half. And therefore, the Gemara is asked, we'll have to still figure out when is it 4, when is it 5. That would not have any sense yet. And also, Rabbi, why is it not? It's half, so it should be 6 out of 12. How do you get? So we have to answer all these questions. But the yesod of the machlokes, the principle that what they're arguing about, is that according to Rabbi, the Kohen Gadol gets half, connected everybody else, and according to Rabbanan, he gets a little bit, he gets less than half. So now the Gemara is going to explain the Brisa. But the Gemara's difficulty because Shavuos, when it says that the Kohen Gadol gets 1 out of 2, that's going to the mandam, but it says you get half. Or else he shouldn't have gotten the whole one. He should have gotten 3/4, whatever. Because he should have gotten less than half. So that's the Gemara's kasha that even though the Rabbanan argue in the Sefer, they talk about getting 4 or 5 out of the Lechem Apanim, but the Brisa says that you get one out of the two of the Shalachem. They should have argued over there. That's more kasha. Not good for kasha. The Brisa is inherently difficult, self-contradictory. I'm right. You said no chalachas mishtei chalas. First you say that you get one out of the two chalas of shtei alechem of the shvuos. Mani Rebbe. That only goes according to Rebbe. That says you get half. Tamapal geshakol. That hold that you get half. But Amy Mitzvah, so go continue on by lechem upon him. Over there, the Rabbanan say that you get 4 or 5. 4 or 5. The Gemara is going to understand that it's going to be less than half. We have to still explain why. Why is it less than half? But 4 is definitely less than half. And the Gemara understands that 5 is also going to be less than half. Even though by Rebbe 5 was half, and the Rabbanan 5 is going to be less than half. This is all not yet clear, not yet explained. But anyway, the Rabbanan hold you get less than half. Arba chamesh mimas lechem apanim. Asan the Rabbanan dami lo shakul palga. The Brisa, the part where the Brisa says that you get 4 or 5 out of the lechem apanim, that goes according to Rabbanan. It says you don't get half, you get less than half. And so it changed authors. First the Brisa was holding like Rebbe that you get half. Then it changed to Rabbanan and say you get less than half. And then Amos Sefer, then it goes back to Rebbe again, Rebbe Yomer L'olam Chomesh, because you get Mesala and Mesala Lavana. So that's the kasha. Reisha was Sefer Rebbe and Mesas Rabbanan. Could you read the Brisa like that? That it first says Rebbe's opinion, then the Rabbanan's opinion, then Rebbe's opinion. That's very, very not.
They come at the 12, Shlemesrei, the way the Torah is Midrash by him. Is this one of them? Does this fit into anything?
No. This is a kasha.
It's
This is a kasha. No, this is a kasha. That does make sense. That you're going back and forth. The Gemara sometimes does do it. We had a couple of pages ago that the Gemara did say in Reisha V'Sefer Kacham. If you have no choice, you can say that also. But the Gemara is not happy to say. The Gemara here doesn't think that it's difficult to reconcile it. So I'm Rabbi. Reisha Mitzias Rabbanan. The Rabbi is going to say how the Lechem Apanim is also according to the Rabbanan that usually they say you get less than half, but by Lechem Apanim they can't say you get less than 1. If you have a big number, you can divide it and get less than half. Like by Lechem Apanim, there's going to be enough that even if you get less than half, you can still get wholes. But to get less than a whole, then the Rabbanan say it's not their offense. They agree that a slice, a cut of bread is not their cheres or chara, their cheres. It isn't their cheres to give it to the Kohen Gadol. It's not mechubad to give him a sliced bread. So therefore, they would like to give him less than half.
Give him one whole.
Right. Even though he's getting half, he's supposed to get less than half. What are you going to do? Less than half is going to be less than a whole. It's not going to even get one.
So also that he should get a little less than his brothers.
No. He's going to get a complete half. If he's supposed to get less than half, he's going to get a whole half. But he's really supposed to get less than half. But you can't, because less than half will be slicing of bread. You can't slice of bread. If you have before, they said that there are 10, let's say, or 12, whatever. So then you can give him 5. That's going to be less than, or 4. It's going to be, they're giving him whole breads. But they give him a slice of a bread that you can't do. Now, I'll just say the Gemara goes further. We have to explain what's happening with this 4 or 5, everything. So just a little introduction before we go on to the next Gemara. It's there's 2 issues the Gemara is going to bring in. The first issue is on every week where they had the change of the guard, means that a weekly shifts of the Kohanim. 24 Mishmaros is listed in Chronicles, just a Simon, Perikov Dalet over there. It says the Chav Dalet Mishmaros. Perik 24 in Chronicles has 24 Mishmaros, if you want to see the names over there. And each week a different Mishmar came to serve in the Beis HaMikdash. The changing of the guard was on Shabbos. On Shabbos, the beginning of the day was still belonged to the last week's shift, and then the new shift started working on Shabbos until the next following Shabbos.
What time?
Okay, that's already in that talks about who gets the Shachos, who gets the Musaf. That's already in the Mishnah, I think, Tamar over there. But the point is, when they divide the Lechem Apanim, which is on Shabbos, so then there's an outgoing shift and there's the incoming shift. So the Gemara in Sukkah has an issue that the outgoing shift, the morning shift, they're going out, they're leaving soon, they open up the doors of the Heichal. Rashi says more, but at least the Heichal, they open up the doors of the Heichal and of the Beis HaMikdash in the morning. Yeah.
Before sunrise. It's before.
Whenever they're supposed to, when they're supposed to open it, they open up the doors. At night it's closed, then in the morning it's open. The Kohanim in the morning opened it, but they're not there at night to close it. And the incoming Mishmar is going to close the doors that the outgoing Mishmar opened.
Stays open all day.
Stays open all day, and then they close it, and then they close it at night. At night means
towards the Heichal, and by us we have to close. The same person who opens closes.
No, okay. Because
I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm saying, you see the way that we give a cover to the person who opens up the Aron Kodesh, you give him also psicha, you give him also that he should close it also. And that would be the proper thing, that the person opened it, you should close it. Like the older mothers say, like you open the door, so close the door. You're not going to open it, not close it. You go after the. So the fact that the incoming Mishmar is going to close the doors that the outgoing Mishmar opened, so as if to say that we did a job that you're supposed to do. We left the job unfinished. So therefore, there's a mandama that says that they get more than lachem apanim. That the lachem apanim, even though it's like only one avoda did, the whole days avoda they divided equally. They did half. But they did the morning and they did the afternoon. But as far as they're closing the doors that you open, so then the incoming mishmar deserves more lachem apanim. The next week is going to turn around the other way, because in the next week when they leave, they got now a bonus, but then they're also going to have to give the bonus next week when they open the doors. Another one is going to close it. There must be something deep about all that, but that's what the words say. So there's a mandama that says that the incoming mishmar gets 2 extra. It means instead of dividing it 6 and 6, of course everybody agrees now. Now we're getting to the point that of course they have 12 lachem apanim, but the question is, do you divide it 6 and 6? The outgoing and the incoming mishmar? And then besides the Kohen Gadol has the right to get, he'll be taking.
So they'll get 3 and 3.
Or is there 7? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, then after you give it to the Mishmar, to the Kohen, the Gemara said before about the Kohen Gadol and the rest of the Kohanim. Now the rest of the Kohanim will divide between the incoming and the outgoing. That's true. You'll divide it. But here the Gemara says that the 2, if you hold that the incoming Mishmar gets 2 extra, means instead of dividing 6 and 6, it's 7 and 5. The one that's leaving gets 5, and the one that's coming in gets 7. So those 2 extra, that's not in the cheshbon of the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol doesn't have rights to that. Even though the Kohen Gadol is going to come and say, you're supposed to give the Kohen Gadol Aaron Levanav, so Aaron's supposed to get something special. But he only has rights to the regular chalukah. But the thing that the incoming mishmar gets because they close the doors, that's not in the cheshbon. That's special. So that's on the side. So now the Gemara is going to explain what the Rabbanan hold. The Rabbanan said 4 or 5. There's machlokas about this point. If you divide it 6 and 6, or you divide it 7 and 5. The Rabbanan's shita is that the Kohen Gadol gets less than half. And I was saying that if you hold that it's divided 7 and 5 between the Kohen and themselves, so the 2 is put aside. The 2, the incoming mishmar gets without any chalukah, without any division. That's already, they get 2 for the schar of closing the doors. Now you have only 10 left. So I want to say that if you have 10, so the Kohen are going to get 5, and the Kohen Gadol will get, no. If you have 10 to divide, so now it's going to be the Kohen Gadol can't get half. He has to get less than half. That's the sheet of the Rabbanan. He has to get less than half. He's not entitled to get half. So he's going to get 4. The Kohen will get 6. And that kind of said they'll divide it 3 and 3. But there is an opinion that says that there's no such thing as 7 and 5. That the incoming doesn't get any more. They don't hold this whole idea of closing the doors. They don't get it. So this opinion that says that they divided 6 and 6. If you divide it 6 and 6, so then the Kohen Gadol has to get less than half. So he's dividing 12, so he's going to get 5. And then then there'll be 7 that's left, and the 7 will be divided between the 2 mishmaros. So just to sum that up, before we see it, we didn't see it inside yet, but the Gemara is going to say when they're abundant, say 4 or 5, what do they mean to say? They mean to say you get less than half. But it depends how many you're dividing. Less than half stays consistently, you get less than half. If you hold that you're dividing 12, so less than half is 5. If you hold you're dividing 10, so then less than half is 4. That's how the Gemara explains the Rabbanah. So let's see the top line. Omai Arba Chamish Rabban. Omai Arba Chamish, comma. The comma goes after the word Chamish. We're on the top of that Vitches. Top line.
Oh, we're already in the next page.
Yeah. Omai Arba Chamish. That's where the comma is. And what does it mean 4 or 5? When is it 4? When is it 5? The answer is comma. Rabbanan Dami Nechnas Notel Sheish V'Yotze Notel Sheish. Uschar Gavas Lasas Lo Shakil. If you go, there's a machlokes Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda, which we didn't have mentioned over. This Rashi says is a Masechah Sukkah that over there machlokes is that the incoming mishmar get 2 extra ones. So the Rabbanan say no, they don't get any 2 extra ones. So according to Rabbanan that say that the incoming mishmar gets 6, the outgoing mishmar gets 6, and they don't hold of getting any reward, any bonus for closing the doors of that the mishmar in the morning opened up. So then, how many res are there to divide? It's 12. So Mishneh say they have to divide from 12. So the Kohen Gadol gets less than half. So you have to get less than half, 1 less than half. So he's going to get 5, and the Kohen will get 7, and they'll divide it equally amongst themselves.
I'm not reading it right.
So you just put the word. The Bach was in one word. He says lo shakli. What does he say? Lo shakim. Lo shakim. No, the next word is Mishneh Misrei. The next word is Mishneh Misrei. Boy, that's 12. According to the Rabbanan that say that they divided 6 and 6, and the incoming mishmar doesn't get the bonus for closing the doors. So then the Kohen Gadol has to divide from 12, so he gets 1 less than half, which is 5. Comma. 4th line. Rabbi Yehuda the Amar Nichnas Notel Sheva Shtayim v'schar d'gafas lasos, the yotzei notul chamesh. But according to Abudo, argues over there in Sukkah, and he says that the incoming mishmar takes 7, 2 extra for the reward of closing the doors, and the outgoing mishmar gets 5. So then those 2 are put away. Those 2 don't go into the cheshbon. So the Kohen Gadol is dividing with the Kohanim only 10. So me'eser boy miflag, he has to divide from the 10. So he gets, again, less than half. But sechad and yipalga, the shakal arba. Take off 1 from half, which is going to be 4. So far we explained the Rabbanan of our Raisa that said sometimes 4, sometimes 5. It doesn't mean sometimes. It means depends what you hold like. If you hold that they're dividing 12, so you get 5. If you hold that they're dividing 10, you get 4. They're consistently hold that so it is that you get less than that. And Rabbi Yehuda, just to point out, Rabbi Yehuda, he also could have said he holds you get half. The Rabbanan holds you get less than half. The Rabbi Yehuda holds you get half. It happens to be that he has an opinion that that 2 are given to the Agafas Lossos for the income. He's only dividing 10, so he says half is 5. He could have theoretically held like to Rabbanan also and say that you're dividing 12 and you get 6. It's a little confusing in the Bryce that the Bryce says Rabbanan say 4 or 5, Rabbi says 5. It's a different cheshbon altogether. So Rabbanan say that you get less than half. The real machlokes is that according to Rabbanan you get less than half, according to Rabbi you get half. But the question is how many are you dividing? So Rabbanan say they're covering all sides. That some hold you have 12 to divide, so you get 5. Some hold you have 10 to divide, so you get 4. Rabbi holds, I would have said 6 if you'd hold that you divide 12, but I happen not to hold like that. I happen to hold that you always give 2 on the Agafas Lossos. So the machlokes inherently, there's 2 points going on, but the main machlokes of our Brisa is when you divide the Kohen Gadol and the rest of the Kohanim, does he get half or does he get less than half? Rabbi holds he gets half, and Rabbi holds he gets less than half. There's another machlokes coming, by the way, that is that when you divide amongst the Kohanim themselves, so they get 2 for the bonus of closing the doors or not. And that happens to be machlokes in Sukkah, and Agamar says that Rabbanan are covering both opinions, and Rabbi is saying, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that says that 2 are put on the side for Agafas Lossos.
To close
the doors. Yeah. This is all about it. Now up to Rav, 2 lines before it spreads. Rav Amar Kula Rabbi. Rav has a way how to reconcile the Brisa like Rabbi. Means so far we had Rabbi says half, and half is 5. Now the Brisa before says something about 4, and the words seem clearly to say that there's a machlokes between Tanakam and Rabbi. That's what it scrolled back a second ago. It said openly in the Brisa that the Rabbanan said 4 or 5. It seems the Rabbanan said. They say 4 or 5, and then Rabbi Rabbi seems to be arguing, Rolam Chamesh. But the Gemara is going to reconcile now that the whole thing can be Rabbi talking. The Sfarad first it says that by Shtei Lechem he gets 1 out of 2. And the Gemara said that's Rabbi says half. 1 out of 2 is half. And Abai tried to get out of it by saying that even if you're supposed to get less than half, you can't get a piece, you can't get a piece. But Rabbi doesn't hold it out. It seems, and he says that you could get a piece according to Rabbanan, but the Brisa that says you get 1 out of 2 is going according to Rabbi that you get half. But now he has to reconcile. So when do you get 4? 4 is always going to be less than half. So Rav is going to say, is going to bring in another concept, which is mentioned also in Masechah Sukkah. And just to say it outside before we see it inside, there's an issue about Yantif. When Yantif comes out close to Shabbos. So just a little background, Rashi gives us all the background, and that is when on the Chagim, Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, so all of the Mishmoros have a right to come. Usually it's divided by Mishmoros of each week, and the Kohanim, they're home wherever they live, and Ari Alavim, Ari Kohanim, and they come to serve in the Beis Mikdash 1 week every 24. But on the Chagim, all the Mishmoros come. Everybody comes, everybody's all the regular, all the Kohanim are there, and not only the Mishmor that it's their week happens to fall out on their week, they do get whatever is coming to them as a regular Mishmor, or whatever has to do with the Chag, so everybody gets. And Lechem Apanim, everybody gets. The Lechem Apanim of that week is divided to all the Kohanim equally, because it came out on Shabbos. Yantif came out on Shabbos. But now the Gemara talks about over there, what if it came out on Yantif came out on Sunday, right, which is right after Shabbos, or it came out on Friday, which is right before Shabbos. So that the Gemara says also, since they have to come because they couldn't come, there's no weekday to come for Yantif, they have to come for Yantif, so then Shabbos is right there also, so they also have a right to get Lechem Apanim on the Shabbos also. So not only if Yantif is on Shabbos, even if Yantif is over on Friday, or Yantif begins on Sunday, they also get Lechem Apanim of Shabbos also. But what the issue is talking about is that if Yantif comes out on a Monday, or Yantif is over on a Thursday, and there is time to go home or to come, they could have, Yantif was over on Thursday, they could have gone home. They had a day, but it's a little not comfortable to leave only one day. You have to be home by Shabbos already. Or if Yantif comes out on Monday, you could have theoretically come on Sunday. But it's not so easy because you only have one day. So people like to come before Shabbos then. But that's not mamish. They don't mamish have to say you had to come. You didn't have to come. You wanted to come, but we understand them that it's dachuk to come in one day or to leave one day. So therefore, they also get a chelik of the lechem apanim, but not as much as a regular chelik. They don't have not like anybody else. It means then the mishmar kavua, that week's mishmar, they get the bulk of the lechem apanim. But we give something. We give something to the mishmar that stayed around. Either they came early or they stayed late, and they get two. They get two out of the two are put aside for them, and the regular mishmar gets whatever they're supposed to get. It means what the Gemara did now was to bring in another factor that minimizes the total amount of the lechem apanim which is being divided. We started with 12. Then we spoke about that sometimes you divide it always for the mishmar that's going out. Maybe those the mishmar that's coming in, maybe they always get an extra bonus for closing the doors. That was how we knocked it down to 10. There's another way to knock it down to 8. That if it comes out that Yom Tov is on Thursday or Monday, so then there are another two that are also not divided with the Kohen Gadol. That's also going to be divided, put aside, and they get the mishmar Masake, the mishmar which is staying longer or coming earlier. They also get 2. And then what Rabbi wants to say is that I could give you a shot that even according to Rebbe, the Kohen Gadol is going to get 4. Why? Because 4 is half of 8. Not that it's less than half, because the whole total amount that you're dividing is 8. Because it went down, first of all, because there's a gafas lasos that the incoming mishmar gets 2, and also the misake, the mishmar that's staying around unnecessarily for Yom Tov, before Yom Tov, after Yom Tov, so they also get 2. So there's only 8 to divide, and 8 to divide, so Rebbe will say he gets 4. So he wanted to be able to read the Mishnah, the Brisa straight, according to the opinion that says that you get half. So that's Rava, 2 lines before it spreads. Rava Amar Kula Rebbe, the old Brisa is going to Rebbe, and that's why by Shtel Lechem you get 1 out of 2. But so Rav Yudah, he also have Yudah that says that the incoming mishmar gets 2 without a cheshbon because they close the doors, so you're down to 10. So how come it says that you get 4 sometimes? Why should you get 4? It's half of 10 should have been 5. They should have gotten 5. 5 is half of 10. If it comes out a week that there's a delayed or a detained mishmar, that the mishmar has to be detained because Yom Tov is over on Thursday or Yom Tov begins on a Monday, so someone's staying around, so they have a right to get 2 of the lechem apanim. If there's a mishmar comes out, Yom Tov came out on Monday or Thursday, so that mishmar gets 2. So besides taking away 2 for the incoming mishmar of that week, the week's mishmar, also all the mishmars, all the kohanim, they get another 2. So only have 8. That's why he gets 4. The shakal arba. You like a mishmar masake, if it's a regular week that there's no extra mishmar standing around, so then there are 10. Mesaboy with a flag. The kohen gadol is going to get a chelik out of the 10, and therefore he gets half a shakal chamesh. So he gets 5 out of 10. So Rava wanted to explain that this Brisa all holds according to Rebbe, according to Rabban, they should have gotten less than half. L'chori, he says that by lechem shtei lechem we have gotten less than a whole. But the Gemara says it doesn't fit into the Brisa. Yachi my Rebbe Omer L'olam Chamesh. The Brisa doesn't read. The Brisa, we don't know what Rava meant, because the Brisa says that first it says 4 or 5, and then it says Rebbe says always 5. Of course, it's a machlokus. You can't read it differently. And the Gemara says kasha. There's no way to reconcile what Rava meant. It's surely is a machlokus. So just that we finished the Gemara, that we finished today's Gemara, just to zoom out and get the halachas that come out of this, that we paskin that you don't do 7 and 5. It means as far as lechem apanim, and every week, the incoming and the outgoing, even though Rabbi Yehuda says that he divided 7 to the incoming and 5 to the outgoing, we don't pass like that. We pass like the Rabbanan, that is 6 and 6. And also we paskin like Rebbe, that says you divide it equally. This week's parsha, La'anu Lavanav, you have by the Shabbos day, but what does it mean, La'anu Lavanav? Metzah La'anu Lavanav, that half of it goes to Aaron, and therefore he gets 6. So the division of the lechem apanim, he gets half. So there are 12 lechem apanim to divide. If it wouldn't be a mishmar masake, if to be yontif, then it'll be different. But he gets half, and that's how he passes. That the kohen gadol gets half of the lechem apanim. He has a right to be marked whenever he wants to. He has a right to get a chelik in the kabbanis of achatas hasham, and by shtel lechem he gets 1 out of 2, like Rebbe. And even if Rabbanan also agreed that you shouldn't slice it, he gets 1 out of 2. But lechem apanim we get 6 out of 12.
What happened to the 5 and 7? I thought we dividing.
We said that's machlokus. We pass. Let's say the halacha now. The halacha is passed like the
but I'm saying that goes to the two mishmarot.
So we're saying that's a machlokus.
Oh.
The point he said about the closing the doors is a machlokus. Rabbi Yehuda like that, but Rabbanan argue and say that they don't get tzchar gafas losses. There's no such thing. So therefore they do have to close the door, but they don't get the extra bonus for it. So the Lechem Apanim is divided 6 and 6. The Kohen Gadol gets 6,
I see.
and
they get 3 and 3.
and then they get 3 and 3.
Oh, it would have been half of 5 and 7. If it went that opinion, it would have been
If it would
2
have
and a
been,
half and 3 and a half for the 2 watches. Because we're not giving them.
if it would have been, then what the Gemara says, if it would have been 7 and 5, so the
Five.
Kohen Gadol, the 2 would have been put aside. 2 they would get without any cheshbon, and then the Kohen Gadol would get 5.
And they
If you
would
hold that
divide it.
half,
And
and then the 5 other, then the other 5,
yeah, so it comes out 3. No, you're right.
2 and a half and
2 and a half
2
and
and a half.
4 and a half. 5 and a half.
I'm not sure what you're saying. They had 2 they got without a
2 and a half, 2
cheshbon.
and a half, and it would be 2 and a half, 4 and a half. The incoming would get 4 and a half.
Because they
Yeah,
divided
because they got the
plus
2
another 2.
plus the 2 and a half, which is the half of the 5.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's today's Gemara, and we pass him again. As far as how the lichus look, the first thing we learned today, so that depends on the Gemara yesterday. If there's machlokas between Talmud and Midos, today the Gemara reconciled that Talmud and Midos both say the same, and the Tlam was in the southwest, and the Lechem Apanim was in the southeast. That's what our Gemara did. Aga, we said that when you're counting, you don't have to go according to the right. Count however you want to. We might see Gemara later on about that again. And then as far as the Kohen Gadol, he has a right to always to do avodah, to get a portion that's according to what he wants. As far as how he divides the Lechem Apanim and the Shtei Lechem, it seems to be a machlokis if he gets half or he gets less than half. And we pass him like Rebbe that he gets half. As far as how much Lechem Apanim is divided besides the Kohen Gadol, there's a machlokis if 2 go to the incoming mishpah for the bonus. Now we're going to pass him like that. We pass him that it's divided equally. And therefore, to make it short and simple, is that the Lechem Apanim is 12 and the Kohen Gadol gets half. That's gets 6, and that's Mechsalan Nasalabano, and 6 that remain to the regular Kohanim, so they divided half and half, and that's the incoming and the outgoing, they get equal.
If he's there in the 7 days, unless he has the right to take all the different carbonas, he can't send it home. He's
There's
not
no
going
home.
home.
There's no home. It has
That's
to be.
what I'm saying.
It has to. No.
So he has to consume everything on premises.
You can't get it home because you're not allowed to take Kachikadesh.
That's right.
Not because he can't go, because the carbonas, the Chatas Noshim can't go out. The things that are supposed to be eaten in the Beis
All
Hamikdash
those
can't
things
go out to
that he's
anybody.
taking has to be eaten in the
Yeah, the Kachikadesh, Chatas Noshim, all these
Chatas
things.
Hashem.
I think the Rambam says if it's outside the Beis Hamikdash, she doesn't have special rights to get it. Only in the things that are eaten in the, I think maybe Chatas and all of the Gemara says over here, Chatas and Noshim. Okay, Yashikach everybody, thank you. And
Meeting in 5
we'll be
minutes.
continuing in another 5 minutes. Today is Navi Bezos.
And go for breakfast.
Okay.
Today is the hell.
Thank
Good
you.
day.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody. wear short sleeve shirts.
Shalom again, everybody, and we're in Tehillim. Tehillim 15. We have to review 15. And if anybody has any input over here, because we didn't have exact Agdara, the definitions for them, but they're very basic. And we said this was the 11 principles that David HaMelech Hamidin Allah Chazesrei. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai mi yagul ba'alecha mi yashkon bar kadshecha. The Mizmor by David, that's the stop. Mizmor LeDavid. Hashem, who will live in your tent, who will dwell in your holy mountain? And the answer is the whole list of things. There's 11 things over here. At the end of the pasuk, it's going to say, someone who does this is never going to falter. So what is the first thing? Holech Tamim. He goes with tmimos, with wholesomeness. Something about being whole. It might mean a certain tmimos means that he is complete. He's complete. Maybe it has something to do with completely trust Hashem. It's he doesn't have two different ideas. He's a tamim. But just to point out that it doesn't mean like we say tam omer. It doesn't mean a simpleton. It means that he's shalem, some kind of perfection. Paul Tzedek, he does righteousness. He speaks truth in his heart. He does not slander with his tongue. He didn't do to his fellow man evil. He didn't carry shame on his relative. We said two takes on that. It might mean that he didn't shame his relative at one point, or it means he might not carry shame because of his relative. That means that he didn't do anything that was inappropriate in order to cover up for a relative.
Exonerate his friend, his neighbor.
Right, his relative, that he's not guilty of doing something to cover up for his relative who deserved really some punishment. And he, like it says in the pasuk we had last week's parsha, if they don't do judgment against somebody who's supposed to be judged.
Learn the deraisa from Hashem commanding Moshe to send the Levim to kill their brother, if he was responsible for.
So they did kill.
Yeah.
Even Chamda was saying that the Levim, they even killed their relatives if they had done the egel. And then pasuk 4, Nivzeh bein lov nemas v'asireh Adonai yichabed. He said two takes on the pasuk Nivzeh bein lov nemas. The simple pshat seems to say that he despised lowly people. If there was something which is nivzeh, so it was bein lov nemas. It was disgusting to him. He scorned evil. I think that was how would we say it in our way of talking.
The nemas is the person who's
bein lov nemas. In the eyes of this tzaddik, it's disgusting. The person the thing who is nivzeh, something which is lowly, the nivzeh bizayon muvuzeh. So in his eyes is disgusting. He disgusts evil. Some said that he's lowly in his own eyes. That's the Radak. We just said it has to be put into proper balance to understand what it means that a person is disgusting and muvuzeh in his own eyes. He honors those who fear Hashem. He swears and he doesn't change. But the word lahara, you have to explain what lahara means. He swears to do evil. Now, of course, that doesn't mean to do evil. He wouldn't be praised for swearing to do evil, and he's not going to change. He's going to do his own.
So
what does lahara mean? The question was, what is lahara? So he said, I only saw one shot, that when it says in the pasuk lahara ola hitiv, that when a person makes an oath, like the Gemara calls it achalti v'lo achalti, ochal v'lo ochal, to do something that's beneficial to himself, I'm going to eat, or I did eat, or detrimental, I won't eat. So that's the Gemara's example of lahara. So it just means that he made an oath to do something which would be difficult to himself, and he's not going to change it. Even though he takes on himself an oath of difficulty, he's still going to keep it.
Something like
that, right. Chaim David is putting the word in lahariya. No, yes, please.
I saw in Guard Your Eyes, they have what they call the tafsik method. It's like Rosh Tevos to come out to sound like tafsik, to stop, and they're very careful, but they say people should make an oath that if they fall, if they do something they shouldn't do, with some kind of a consequence that they would, that's difficult and that they wouldn't want to have to pay, but that they would pay if they did fall.
And they said yes to make an oath. They said to make an oath.
They say to make, yes, this is, today, they say to make an oath with the Shem Hashem, but it's you have to be very careful. They have a lot of conditions before one does this, like to make sure that they were saying, like if somebody were going, I don't know, I'd have to get it up and read to you from it, but like someone who, for sure they wouldn't, Machal Shabbos, for example. So if there's some kind of,
Right.
red lines that they wouldn't do, then they can be Naaman to keep their oath.
Mhm.
That's
And you
the way
said
they
that
do it.
controversial? Is that what you said last time? This was what you were saying was controversial?
Well, I think some people would say we don't make oaths today, but in this group, they're saying that there are certain times when people will be helpful for people to make the oath in order to stop their bad behavior.
So I did try to look it up. I didn't get to the bottom of it yet. We had the Gemara also when we came across,
In Avos, I think, right?
I think we had over there that Nishban L'Kaim is a mitzvah. Nishbati Vakayema, then 119 in Tehillim, Nishbati Vakayema Mishpatei Tzedkecha, that the other Gemara says that it is a praiseworthy thing that a person swears in order to make sure that he's going to do what Hashem says, even though the Gemara over there says that it really doesn't take effect. Mushba V'omei, the person's already sworn in, it doesn't make an oath on oath, doesn't take effect. But it's called the Mizarez himself. And the other one even said an interesting thing that the Rishonim, I think it was, that the Rishonim, they even swear, Gechazi over there says that he swore he's going to do that very. He wanted to make sure he's not going to back out, so he swore he's going to do it, which is interesting. But here also, Nishbal Rav Lo Yomir, so where is their place to do, according to our custom? It's not us, but we're very makbid nowadays not to make oaths. So especially Ashkenazim made a big issue not to swear, much more than the Sfardim. And it goes back that they even stopped learning Maseches Nedarim for 300 years, and they say that I'll leave it in the times of the Gaonim, but I'm not sure when exactly they stopped learning the Masechta in order to, and also the poskim. You see the Rishonim, they were very makbir. If someone made a note, they threw the book at him, and even if something would have been mutter to be mataneh, they were very makbir in order people should stay away, and they really did clear up very much. And Ashkenazim, they swear much less. I mean, people are Shem Torah mitzvahs, and it wasn't like that. It means it is mutter, but you have to take the oath very seriously. When a person does swear, so it says, and the reason why he has to swear, so it is considered a mitzvah even to swear by Hashem's name, because that's going on, giving honor to Hashem. That when I swear by Hashem's name. That's what's the most chashuv to me. But of course, he has to be careful not to transgress the oath. So I don't have clarity as far as halacha l'maaseh, like Levi Yaakov's talking about that. If a person should do it in order to make a guard for himself, is that the right thing to do? There are two things. There's an oath, there's a shua, also another. Another means that he says, if I transgress, if I do this, so then I'm going to be usher for me to something, he prohibits something on himself that it's less than a shua, but means that thing becomes usher for him. He's not allowed to, he says, I'm not going to eat oranges, whatever, for the next month or so, or cake, whatever he's going to say. So
I do have, I do have it here. I could send it to you. It's quite long, but they call it tool number 10, extra strong fences, tafsik method.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Do they give sources of the Rabbanim that would back it, or is that included in
The general website has haskamas.
But you don't know if that includes also this particular Eitzah.
Tafsik stands for the physical and spiritual combo. In other words, there has to be physical ramifications and spiritual ramifications, and you have to put them together.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And Pasuk and Zof, yes, Pasuk number 10 and 11. I mean, Pasuk 5, but in our account is 10 and 11. Altogether, they are 11. He didn't give his money for interest, and he didn't take bribery about an innocent person, which seems very basic. The thing about not taking bribery. Some of them seem basic, you might say, but these are 11 things that includes everything. It includes 613. Someone who does this will never falter. So that was our review, and if that's good, we'll go further. If anybody wants to say anything before we do.
Yeah, just one question. Are these 11 all encompassing of all 613, or is it just like this last part of the last pasuk, that if you do these, then that'll help you, then this will be like a springboard to be able to do all of them. Not that these are encompassing all of them. Like the Vilna Gaon says the first pasuk, has all the mitzvahs or the 10, whatever it is, like some of them say that this contains the whole Torah, or does this just mean it's a springboard to be able to keep the whole Torah?
I don't know. In the pasuk alone, without the Gemara in Makos 24, I would not have seen that it's so encompassing to say 613.
Here it says that these are the people who do this. They will dwell in the tent of Hashem. They will dwell in the holy mountain. But the Gemara over there makes a point that that David HaMelech took these and he didn't take away the other 600 and what is it? 613
Extract them
minus
from
11.
these 11. Did he extract them all from these
He
11?
didn't come to the track. He didn't come to the track. He meant to say that these are the cardinal ones that they would say, or the ones that will give you a hold on the rest of them. He's not coming to detract from the rest of the mitzvahs. He's not saying these are more
No,
important.
I wasn't saying detract. I was saying extract.
That the
Did
rest
he
of them
extract all 613 from these 11?
that all of them will be included in these 11.
That's my question.
Well, the other choice was not that they included, but they'll bring you. It'll be a springboard.
If you keep these 11, you'll be able to keep all of them.
I don't know, and I wouldn't know either way how these would be a springboard to everything, and how these would include. Surely, I don't know how they include everything.
Well, the way I see it, it doesn't make sense that each generation has its dominant media that it has to work on, and
But he's not
what
talking
each of them
about
are.
he's not talking about a specific generation. He's Tillim is for all generations. So it doesn't sound like he's just saying that time. But without the Gemara, I mean the pshat level, I wouldn't say that it's something to do with 613 at all. I wouldn't have connected it. The Gemara does, so maybe that's something
Some of them
deeper.
are read. Some of them are very mafurish. Some of them are not. Some of them are, I don't know. The way I see it, some of them are very simple, like Kaspulo Natan and Beneshich. That's purely asur.
No,
It's
I'm not saying that. Of course, I'm talking about if you see in this 613, do you see?
Oh, no, I
Do you
see.
see that? I wouldn't have connected to the 613. I wouldn't have said that this is 613 or not condensed
I thought
and
that
not
was
the
the same
springboard.
the Essay, the Brot, that contains
So
all
I'm saying I'm
613.
saying
but yeah, I
I'm saying
don't
the
think-
Gemara in Marcus. We mentioned one Marcus 24. It talks about that. Well, David Vemidan Lachas Esrei, then Yeshaya 6, and then Micha, and then Chavakuk.
Right.
That Gemara. So it says something about that. This is some kind of a yesod. This parak is a yesod of 11 yesodos that encompass or are a handle on all 613. So I'm just saying I wouldn't on the pshat level. I don't see it. It must be something that
Who
has
says
depth.
that?
And it's a Gemara.
Oh, it is a Gemara.
Gemara Marcus 24.
You got it, but Rabbi, if it says it, it's true. No, I mean,
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm
so
not
what
saying it's
what's the
not
problem? You don't see it.
I always try to say this pshat and the drash, and the pshat level they don't
Yeah,
see it, and the
they don't
drash
see
level
it.
is something,
Right,
and the
right,
drash
right.
level you have to know what is included in
Yeah.
these things in order
Yeah.
to be able to see
No, yeah.
the 613.
Mm.
Either included, as like Jacob pointed out, or a springboard. The two
Mm.
choices that he said.
Mm.
Okay, parak 16. People know this parak,
That's right.
but I think that people always see it in the context of a Levaya, and I think that it's going to be very different. When you read the pshat, it's not the Levaya. On the contrary, it's very, very, very spiritual and a very spiritual parak. Michtam L'David, Shemini Yelki Chasisi Bach. Michtam, I don't know what it means. It means like all of the beginnings, we don't know what they mean. Ashmilis and Agitis. So Michtam is a kind of a song. Of course, the Gemara is a drash, what Michtam means, but that's on a drash level. On the pshat level, I don't know if they know what it means. And the pshat level. Again, some might say that's a kind of a tune or a melody. Some might say maybe a kind of a poem or maybe an instrument. I don't know. But Shamreini Yelki Chasisi Vach, we'll have to see how this fits into the rest of the parak. The first pasuk I don't see exactly, but just the translation is easy. Shamreini El, guard me, God. Ki Chasisi Vach, because I take shelter in you. The word Choseh, we have many times already. Amachseh, but Amachseh. We had the Ki Hashem Achseyu back in 14:6. We had other times also that Ashrei Kol Chosei Vach. We had right away in the beginning. We had that in the parak 2. Ashrei Kol Chosei Vach. So the Choseh means take shelter. And I take shelter in you. So guard me, Hashem, because I take shelter. Since I take shelter in you, that's a reason why that Hashem, please protect me because I take shelter in you. The fact that he knows that Hashem is his protection and he's turning to Hashem, that's a plea that Hashem should protect me. Pasuk 2. Amarat ladonoi, Adonai ota, tovasi balalacha. Hard pasuk. Amarat ladonoi. You. It's talking in second person feminine. Amart ladonoi. You said to Hashem or for Hashem, but who is he talking to? Who's he talking to that he says Amart? That you second person feminine. You feminine. Who's he talking to? So some say he's talking to my soul. He's talking to his own soul, and the soul is going to be feminine. So that's I don't know if there's another pshat, but it doesn't say in the pasuk. But there's somebody that he's talking to about something very personal. So they said they're talking to his own soul. And he says that you say to Hashem, Adonai Ota, Tovasi ba'alecha. So those words, those 5 words, Adonai Ata, Tovasi ba'alecha is in quotations. That's what you are saying, the nefesh. The nefesh is saying, the soul is saying, saying to Hashem, you are my master. Tovasi ba'alecha. So that's difficult. Again, Tovasi is something about my goodness, and ba'alecha is not upon you. My goodness is not upon you. What could that mean? My goodness is not upon you. So some say that it means that you don't know me anything. My goodness means the goodness that I'm asking for, that I would like, is not upon you. It means you're not incumbent. I have no claim that you should be good to me. You are my master. I have no claim to the good that you should do to me. Some say that a little different twist, that even if you don't do anything good to me, you are my master. You're not my master only because you do good for me. You're my master, even if you don't do any good to me. Those are the 2 takes that I saw on this pasuk. If anybody has any other suggestions or pshatim that they see in front of them, also happy to hear. So what did he say so far? That my soul, my soul, say to Hashem, you are my master. You don't owe me anything, or even if you don't do anything good to me, I'm still, you are my master.
So the Hashem Adni is my soul. Is that the soul part of God? And then Hashem, from a Mefurish.
I'm not following.
There's 2 names here.
The soul is the soul is not God. How do you see anything in the pasuk here about the soul being God?
No, I see 2 names. I see Hashem, Havaya, and I see Adni Ata. Adni. There's 2 names.
Again.
I see 2 names.
Again.
Okay.
The word from the first two words is not in quotations. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th words are in quotations. David Melech says to his soul, you say to Hashem the following. What do you say to Hashem? You say, you are my master. Tovasi ba'alecha.
Adonai is my master.
But the soul is talking, and the soul says to Hashem, you are my master. Tovasi ba'alecha literally means my goodness is not upon you. What does that mean? Either you're not incumbent to, you don't have to do good for me, or it means even if you don't do good for me. Even those are the 2 pshatim that I saw in the word. Translation is, my goodness is not upon you. What does that mean? Either you don't owe me anything, or that even if you don't do anything, well, of course, Hashem is constantly doing good to people. Anybody that's alive and existing is Hashem's doing good to him. But even besides, even if you wouldn't do anything good for me, you are my master. The next pasuk, Likdoshim Asher Ba'aretz Hema Ba'direi Kol Chef Sivan. Hard pasuk, very famous. Everyone knows these psukim. They're pretty. People are used to these psukim. But what does it mean? Likdoshim Asher Ba'aretz Hema, to the holy ones that are in the land. Ba'direi Kol Chef Sivan, and those strong ones that all my desire is in them. Difficult. So the pshat that the Mefarshim say is that I do pray for the holy ones that are in the land. It means I myself, you don't owe me anything. But for the holy ones that are in the land, and those great ones, those strong ones, that all of my desire is to be like them, so for them I pray.
Where's the word I pray?
It doesn't have it. Right.
What is Hema?
Hema means them.
I would have thought, based on the previous verse, it says that you don't owe me because of my goodness. You don't owe me anything. But to the Kadosh Mishvaret Hema V'Adir Kol Chef Zibam, them you should give your.
So that's more or less.
You should give your attention to them. So, yeah. You don't owe me anything, but to them give your attention.
So that would also be similar to saying, so it's also saying something like a prayer. So you have to put in the words that, in contrast, pasuk but this yes, even though this not, but this yes.
This not, but this yes.
Maybe once something like that. So then the pasuk before saying that I nothing that I deserve, but because of the kedoshim, yes, that maybe not dafka to do to them. Not they saying don't do anything to you don't owe. Yes, tovasi ba'alecha means all the good that I've done. Maybe a little bit. Tovasi ba'alecha, I don't know. Maybe it's better than I said. But tovasi ba'alecha means that any good that I did is you don't nothing that you would be responsible for. It means you don't have to. The good that I did doesn't demand any
warrant any special attention
but because of the holy ones that are on the land, and those great ones that my desire is in them. So for them, it means in their merit or to them or because of
To
them.
them should come all this good, all that you should.
Or
all this
just in their
attention.
merit, Hashem should do good to everybody because of them or to them. But it just
My
to point out,
desire is for the Kedoshim. Is that what you're saying?
the Hadirim, those great ones, that all my desire is in them. So the Mepharshim say, my desire is to be like them, that I extol them. They're very great, these people. But David Melech is talking, this passage is not that Hashem is talking, but that David is talking, that those strong ones, that all of my desire is in them, which would mean that he desires to be like them.
By the way,
I
Rebbe,
have
the
that this is
Kedoshim
also the soul speaking. This
Probably
is
about
also
the-
part of the pasuk.
come
Part
by
of the
Kiddush,
quote.
they call it Kedoshim.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear everything, so, no, I'm not, whoever wants to talk first, I just
No,
couldn't hear.
let Leib speak.
David gives you the floor, Leib Yaakov.
Thank you. I have that this is also pasuk 3 is also the soul speaking, and this is and through pasuk 3 is the end of the quote. That the soul is saying this. Well, you're saying it's like David, so it's his soul speaking, and then this is in this translation they have this as also part of the
Good,
quote.
okay, makes sense. David?
Oh, so I'm saying that I'm trying to break it into two sections. The Kedoshim Shabbat Hema, those who sanctified their lives in their lives and are now deceased, and the second point of Adira Kol Cheftzibam, and those who are currently toil in great ways.
So it could be, Chaim David was pointing a possibility that when it says the holy ones who are in the land, so he's saying like they're in the earth, they're underground.
Yeah, well, that's actually where you pray at the kever of the Avos.
But that's not the Pashup Pshat. The Kedoshim HaShabar Zema, that the Pashup Pshat is not to say that they're buried. I'm not saying it's not a drush, but the Pashup Pshat wouldn't sound like the holy ones who are buried, that they're in the ground already.
Why am I'm putting it together? Because Kedoshim usually means people who were killed as Kiddush Hashem.
No, you have to look in the whole Kedoshim, you're not going to find the Kedoshim to you.
Yeah, it's not
Kedoshim,
Mocha. Yeah.
yeah, but there are
Here,
those that,
and, excuse me, I think it's with what Chaim David is saying. I think R here would be Rashi. I only have English here, but he's saying that the mighty ones buried in the earth, in the merit of the holy ones, David here refers to his esteemed ancestors. So maybe that's how they get to that they're buried in the earth.
The Kedoshim HaShabar is to say the holy ones in the land, usually it's all over the place. It doesn't mean after they're buried in the earth. We could look at a lot of psukim. So I recognize there's such a drash, but I don't think it's pshat. Maybe someone will argue and say that it is pshat, but I find it difficult to say that Melech wants to say those that died already, that he calls them the holy ones in the land. He means the holy ones that are buried in the earth. I find it a little difficult for pshat, but I hear people like that for the pshat, so I'm not gonna protest. But I think that the pshat would mean that those holy ones that are in the earth, on planet Earth. That's what I would imagine as Pashup Pshat. But whatever you prefer.
Because it says Ba'aretz as opposed to Ala Aretz.
That's also kind of a nuance that's good for a drash. I mean that it justifies a drash, but I don't think it's going to be like you say that the drash is more demanding. So you say, why say Ba'aretz? How would you have said it if I want to say people that are in the land? That's how you say it, like Rishim Hashem Ba'aretz.
Yeah, it could be that this drush is popular because this is said in a house of a Beit Ava.
Also could be, right? Also, the Psukim later on is going to talk about by a funeral and things like that. I'll just look a second for the word Ba'aretz and see just if it, in general, I think that the word Ba'aretz is not going to mean that, but just to see for a second. Praise Aleph Resh. Sorry, so fit. Of Yive Boretz. Navanot Tia Boretz. Very, very, the Psukim again and again. There are, how many are there over here? The Psukim go on and on. Vayavor, Vam Boretz, Ishain Boretz, Kul Boretz Azos, all of them. Yeah, okay, I think it's definitely a drush, but if someone wants to argue, they have every right to. Okay. The pasuk continues. Also, very hard pasuk. I'm saying in the words, that's the translation is like it's very, very poetic. It's not like easy reading. Pasuk 4. Yerbu asvosam Acher Maharu. That's the big stop. That's the Olav Yored. Vala Sichnis Kehem Idam, Uvala Sash Mosam Al Sfasai. So the end of the pasuk is very easy. Vala Sichnis Kehem Idam. I'm not going to pour their libations of blood, and I'm not going to carry their names on my mouth. So he's obviously talking about something evil. It sounds also like about the Zaradik, but talks about that I'm not going to pour libations of blood, that I'm not going to carry them, even mention their names on my lips. The beginning, Yebu Atzvosam. So the word Atzvosam, Etzev, sadness, sometimes that's a mashal for Avodah Zarah. It talks about Atzev. Atzabehem, Kesev Zahav. But not necessarily. The word Atzvos would mean some kind of sadness. Sometimes that's a nickname for Avodah Zarah. To ridicule Avodah Zarah, we call it Atzabehem. Those things that cause sadness. The Avodah Zarah doesn't cause happiness, it causes sadness. So what is the words Acher Mahoru? So some say that those who are rushing, like Maher means to rush. So Acher Mahoru, those who go speedily after Acherim, they go after God, false foreign gods. So they should, those who, according to this understanding, Acher Mahoru, those people who rush after foreign gods, Elilim, gods, idol worship. So they should increase sadness. There should be increased sadness to those people. And I'm not like that. I don't have anything to do with Avodah Zarah. I don't pour libations like them of blood, and I don't carry even the names of the Avodah Zarah on my lips.
I have many are the sorrows, or many will be the sorrows of those who rush towards Achirim.
Okay, that's Yebu, like increase, many or increase.
Yeah.
So
the sorrows will be increased. Those that hurry to
those
to the other.
To the others. Other means Avodah Zarah. And I don't do that. I don't pour their libations from blood, and I don't carry their names on my lips. Pasuk 5. So what did he say so far, just to get a general idea? David HaMelech said, first, the beginning, I don't get, maybe guard me because I trust in you. And maybe the next pasuk, the next 2 and 3, spoke about that the soul says that Hashem, you are my God, and Tovasi Balalacha, which maybe the best travel we have so far is that not in my merit, but in the merit of the holy ones that are on the land and those that I strive to be like. And those who rush after foreign gods should have increased sorrow, and I do not pour libations to their kind of Avodah Zarah. I don't mention their name even. But who is mine? Pasuk 5. Beautiful pasuk. Hashem is the portion of mine. Hashem is my portion. Manah is like a portion. Chelek, also a portion. Hashem is my portion and my cup. Like a person talks about what's his cup. His cup is his portion. So Hashem is my portion. Hashem is my cup. You, Hashem, you support my lot. Means you are the one who gives me all good. Tomech Goroli, some say Tomech Goroli, Tomech Goroli, even though it has a yud, Tomech. Is that true? Does it have
Well, here it says Tomich.
Tomich with the tchirek.
Yes, I didn't see it well. Yeah, also Tomech. I thought Tomech Goroli. That you are the one who support. Tomech is like also to support, to uphold. Goroli, my lot. Some say that it means that you are the one who, we'll see soon that there's going to be also an aspect that Hashem, David is thanking Hashem for helping him to make the right decision, to be loyal to him. Even that, he's also, not only that you are my portion, but Hashem, you are the one who supports me and helps me to be loyal to you, and you are my portion. But he says here that those who run after Avodah Zarah, I'm not like them at all. Hashem is my portion, Hashem is my cup, you are the one who supports my lot. Pasuk 6. So he says about how beautiful his lot is. Very, very beautiful pasuk. The word chevel, it means also like a nachala. Chevel and nachala, it's another. Sometimes it means a rope. A chevel is a rope, but sometimes it means a portion. Chevel nachlaso, Yaakov chevel nachlaso. Chevel is a portion. So it talks about as if the portions were being allotted, and the lot that fell into my portion is very, very, very pleasant to me. He's very happy with his lot. The word shofar is like shapir, beautiful. Nachla, they say nachlasi. My nachla, the word chevel and nachla are very, very similar. Both of them, I don't know the difference between these two synonyms, but af nachala shofra aloi, my nachla, my portion is very beautiful to me. So the whole pasuk says that I'm very happy with my lot.
Rabbi, I once heard on Chaval, of Chavalim, as Yaakov Chevel Nachalato, is that whatever is connected from Yon, from Hashem, from Shabrichu to Yaakov, or to his servants down in this world, that every movement that a Yid does in this world, generally be to say for good, that's in the mitzvahs and Ma'asim Tovim, will immediately create a ripple effect in the element of the worlds above. And therefore Hashem is immediately connected to every good deed of a tzaddik.
So again, you're saying that chevel is a rope.
That's a constant
in
connection.
the Pashup Shad, I don't think that the chevel is a rope. I mean,
Oh,
of course,
really? You mean it
chevel,
doesn't even mean that?
right? I think
It
that
doesn't even
like,
have a simple peshat in that word?
in the Pshat, no, there is such a word, chevel means a rope.
Right.
But
so,
I don't think it's like called, what's it called, antonym, that it has many meanings. I don't,
so you never say that?
I don't think that the Radak probably will say that has many meanings. He's not going to say that it's the same word. So on the Drash level, it might be good. Wow, I see a lot of the Radak is so big over here. I'm not going to be able to, oh, wow. Well, it's very big. Okay, I can't go through it now. But he has probably many translations for the word.
Is
That's
the
fine.
beginning of this pasuk, the first half is portions fall to me pleasantly?
Yes.
That-
So chevel, that's the word chevel you have over there, and then again you have nachla. That's just over here. This is it's on the screen here. You have the Radak, but it's very long. I'd have to find where he brings the psukim that we're looking for. It probably has many translations over here.
Which word?
Chevel.
Yeah, right.
You have lechabel and chavol tachbol tal
That's
masriyacha.
negative usually. Chabel is usually in terms of destruction.
Then he says you have the word chevel, which means a rope. He says means psukim means a rope. V'tavidim b'chevel v'chavlei adam emshechem. You have that the word means
Right.
He has a pshat over here that does connect. Interesting. He says he puts the connection of why a nachla is called a rope is because they used to measure it with a rope.
Interesting.
Okay, so it could be that there's some connection. Fine. So in the simple pshat, without going into the details of the word, so we would say that it means a portion. So he's my portions in plural chavalim fell to me, like the portion that fell to me in pleasantness, and my nachla, my portion, is beautiful upon me. I appreciate, I enjoy, I happy with my portion. Pasuk 7.
Shafar usually means improvement or betterment. Am I right? Or I might be wrong.
So the word, so usually it's Aramaic, and this seems to be one of the Aramaic words, and like shapir means good.
Shafar means,
You can say the shapir means to improve,
yeah,
it means to make
improve.
good.
That's what I
So
understood.
it means to make good.
Right, to make good.
But the word means good.
I thought the name is Shifra means beauty, doesn't it? Maybe
That's
not.
also going to be based on the Aramaic word of shapir. I imagine, I look in the Radak here also, I think that it's usually only Aramaic, and here's one of the places where the pasuk uses something which is usually used as an Aramaic word. Let's see if we can find it. Shin Pei Reish. I don't think there are too many in the Tanakh. And the word Shifra, the name
Shifra
Shifra,
itself
like we always
flourished
know
that way.
that the names we don't always know what the meanings are. So I wouldn't prove anything from there. Afna Chalasha. I'm saying Imre Shofar. It's also that's supposed to
Well,
be.
what did we say about, wasn't it Pua, Shifra and Pua? What do we
What?
say over there? Shifra and Pua, what does Rashi say over there?
Yeah, I'm okay that she's Mishaperes as Savla. Again, I'm not saying that wouldn't be a proof. Rashi's allowed to do drash. Rashi most of the time does drash. So I don't know if that's stuff going to be shot. But here are many psukim that talk about. He says so the Targum. So he says that you find that the Targum, the Aramaic of the word Yafeh means Shapir, and also Aramid Malchi Shpar Allah Pasuk in Daniel, Beruchah Shamayim Shafra. So there are places where, a few places in the Torah where it says it. It means the word shofar also. That's something else. Okay, so we have here, how many words does he have? He has two places in the, maybe three.
3. He has Afna Chalosh Afrolai, that's our pasuk. He has in the end of Bereshis, Hanoseinim Reshofer. That's Naftali, Naftali, Ayalosh Luchan, Hoseinim Reshofer, I think. So that's also the word shofar. And then you have in Eov, Virucho Shamayim, either Shafra. It doesn't mean the name Shifra because you can't know what the name is. So it could be on a drash level that maybe it means something about beauty, or she beautified the blood. Okay, so we do know that Aramaic means beautiful, and it fits into the pasuk over here also. Also, Imrei Shofar, they probably all got learned out from the word Targum. You do find that Aramaic is considered like a sister language to Hebrew, and therefore you could learn from one to the other. The pasuk continues. Pasuk 7, I bless Hashem who advised me, gave me counsel. Even at night, my kidneys chastise me. So this seems to be talking about that a person's consciousness, that a person, even at night, when a person is thinking, they talk about many times in the Tanakh, it talks about when a person is sleeping, he's on bed, he's going to sleep. So then a person doesn't have anything to do with him, any around him, he's with his own thoughts. And that's when a person's consciousness could talk to him. So it seems to be in this pasuk that David Melech was thanking Hashem even for his consciousness that drives him to be good. That's a beautiful idea in this pasuk. In the whole parak, he's talking about how Hashem is his portion and he's happy with his portion. It's pleasant and beautiful. And now he thanks Hashem for the counsel that Hashem gives him. That doesn't necessarily mean that Hashem spoke to him. It doesn't have to be that as a Navi in order to get counsel from Hashem. A person that Hashem speaks to him means Hashem gives him the ideas and also the consciousness that Hashem made in the man that he's able to direct himself because his consciousness smites him. So even at night, that not somebody else, not an outsider, his own klayos, his own kidneys. We said many times that just like the heart is spoken about as an emotion, so too the kidneys. Nowadays, it isn't used so much. In any language, you talk about the heart. People in any language, they'll talk about my heart, and they don't mean the physical heart, they mean the emotion. But you don't have too many times nowadays people use the word kidneys as something about the emotions, but the pasuk does. And sometimes it might be in counsel. You find that kloyos yoatzos, that when a person gets an idea, so that's attributed to the kidneys.
I understood that, Ramavina. I think I said it to you once in class. God, all his Ruach HaKodesh, his great wisdom and understanding of Hashem through his klayot.
So that's based on this, that
Right.
it means a person's, if we would say from his heart, that we don't understand that. So kidneys, nowadays it's not used. You have to know why people are okay with the heart. I could say a pshat, I think that when people are emotions, so according to the heartbeat, when a person gets emotional, so then it's noticeable in the heart, or maybe other reasons why people attribute it to the heart, something else. But so there's something in the physical that we attribute to something emotional. So there's something in the kidneys also that might be attributed, maybe the fact that the kidneys they separate good and bad. I don't know if that will be considered the counsel. The fact, I heard this trap one time from somebody as a suggestion that maybe the fact that the kidneys is the one that separates the psolos from the good from the bad. So that's something when you think about an idea, if it's good or bad. So that's the klayos that have the emotion will be more in the heart, but decision making, sifting things out if it's good or not, that might be attributed to the klayos. But that's a pshat. I don't know what the real pshat is, but it might be. Nowadays, you don't find in the languages that I know that people talk about the kidneys as some kind of a wisdom, but in the Tanakh it is.
Rob, why do you think ArtScroll translated as intellect?
That's very loose. It's surely not a translation. The word klayos doesn't mean intellect. It definitely means kidneys. So they're taking it the same way it would say heart. They wouldn't mind saying heart because it's used in languages already. But if we just look at a heart as a physical organ, and it would say something about the wisdom of his heart, they would say the wisdom is in the brain, it's not the heart. They'd have difficulty with that. I think that they're just translating it in a way that's the meaning, not as much as the translation. So we have to put intellect somehow into the kidneys. That's what we're trying to do.
I think they got it from Matsuda's David. I have here in English, at night when my mind is not occupied with other thoughts, my intellect urges and admonishes me to accept him as my God.
They're the same. Okay, but it's all the same. The question is that the word klal Yisrael. No one questions the word klal
Yeah,
Yisrael means.
nobody questions it, but that's Matsuda's Davis trying to give an explanation of what.
Again, everybody agrees that the point of the kidneys here is going to mean some kind of wisdom. That's also in the context we always see that the same way it says, right? I think everybody agrees. There's no chidushim over here. I'm just pointing out the fact that in our modern languages we don't use the kidneys as wisdom. So why did they? If we could ask on ourselves also, why do we use the word heart as an emotion? What does the pumping of the heart have to do with an emotion? So whatever you're going to say, I'm welcome to hear. I want to hear what everybody says. And here it says something about the kidneys. Chaim David is pointing out.
I missed that too.
What?
Well, it says Nevuah comes from kidneys.
Okay.
Meaning that would fit with Avram Avinu receiving his.
He doesn't say the kidneys over here.
What did he say?
What do you see? What it says, "Mimenu was small." It doesn't say that the kidneys. It doesn't say, unless you know
What
something.
I thought it said specifically kidneys. Oh, that's interesting. I'm really sure it's kidneys.
Okay, I didn't mean to say anything. I just pointed out the translation, the literal translation, and I think that the Pashto on the pasuk is saying that he's thanking Hashem for his consciousness smiting him. A person that the fact that he has a consciousness is a great present. Sometimes people want to get rid of their consciousness. It's not a good thing. The consciousness means that there's some force in a person that wants to be good, and when he doesn't feel good about something, his consciousness smites him. So that's a great present that Hashem gave, and it seems that David Melech is thanking Hashem for that. If anybody has a different take, I would also want to hear, but that's what it seems to say. If we have to say for the counsel, Hashem gives me counsel, okay, gives me counsel for all kinds of things, but it ends off that his kidneys chastise him, and he's thanking Hashem for that. So I think is what it says. I place Hashem before me constantly. That's the famous pasuk. Shivisi Hashem Negdi Samid. It's in a lot of shuls. They put it on by the chazan, by the amud, by the stender of the chazan. Shivisi Hashem Negdi Samid. Sometimes it happens on the Aron Kodesh that I place Hashem before me constantly. The Chafetz Chaim talks about the Mishnah Berurah. They used to have. He talks about the same thing. They call it a shivisi, and they had it on paper, parchment, and it would be people put candles over there. And nowadays, surely, those days surely had candles. That was the light. Nowadays, they put candles as a outside or whatever, or as a kavod. Nowadays, they have electric lights. But Mishnah Berurah's time, the issue was they made a shivisi, and it has Hashem's name over there. And they also would put candles, and it would rub out in the course of time. It would blacken the parchment in a way that it erased the name. So he has a lisha over there. But this used to be famous also in those days, that they would put Shivisi Hashem Negdi Samid on the amud of the chazan, or on the, nowadays you see it embroidery on their own kodesh. A person, it says that Mishnah Berurah means on also that a person should think this pasuk, if he wants to get Yiras Shamayim, he should think of this pasuk in a certain way of the Nekudas. So it brings down the Nekudas of Yud Kei Vav Kei. But again, the simple words, Shivisi Hadinei Negdi Samid, I place Hashem before me constantly. Kimi mini balamot, because on my right, I will not topple. So it means Hashem is on my right. Because Hashem is always with me, He's the one who's supporting me, He's holding me up, He's on my right side. Therefore, balamot, I'm not going to falter. We had this word before, just to point out the last pasuk of the previous parak, Osei lo yimot la'olam. You have that word of to fall, to falter. Here you have it again. Balamot, I don't fall. Because Hashem is on my right, therefore I don't fall.
I think he mentions the right because that's the dominant hand, and so when Hashem is guiding his dominant actions, something like that.
You talk about we even in our life also say a right hand man, right? The right hand man. What does that mean?
Oh, a right hand man, the one who's going to help me the most.
So that's what it. So Hashem is on my right, like that same idea. Whatever you're going to translate, whatever how we explain our expressions, it's the same thing.
This is the pasuk used by Chafetz Chaim in Waking Up in the Morning, and many others in the Kabbalists use it. It's on the top of the Shaviti that they put on Beit Aaron, Bama of the Yisrael Tzibur Davens. Everything starts with that.
Yeah.
Shaviti Hashem Lenig Tamid. I think that's how the Chafetz Chaim explains the first Aleph in Orach Chaim.
It brings down about it.
It brings
down about it. Yeah. First test. Therefore, my heart is happy and my glory rejoices. And even my flesh will dwell securely. So, kavodi, I think that means when a person's essence is called his honor. I think it's also a big hint over here what the word kavod is. Kavod doesn't just mean external honor that somebody shows. It means that a person's essence is called his kavod. What a person is, like Areni nas kavodacha, like show me your essence. It doesn't mean atzmuto, but it means that what are you? Someone said a nice example when you ask somebody, if you say to a person, show me your honor, Areni nas kavodacha. So whatever he does, he'll say, this is my honor. It means if the thing that he does good, if you ask a basketball player, show me your honor. So he'll do a basket to show this is my honor. Or you ask a sofer, you ask a sofer, what's your honor? He'll take out his best mezuzah and say, this is my honor. This shows this shows me. So a kavod of a person is what is he? What is he worth? What is his value? What is his worth? So when it says, therefore my heart rejoices and my glory exudes and my flesh, means even my goof also will dwell securely. Why is that? Why am I so happy? Because you take care of me. But you will not forsake my soul to the grave. You will not give your pious one to see the shachas. So the word shachas and shol, I don't know exactly, the pit, the grave, that you're going to save me. You're not going to let my soul go down to the grave. And the pasuk ends off, let me know, inform me, give me knowledge of the path of life. Beautiful. The whole parak is very, very ruchani. He's very, very much. Sometimes the Prakemi talks about Hashem save me. I'm in trouble for my enemies. This pasuk the whole parak seems to be very much spiritually attuned. It's very much that he's davening Hashem. He thanks Hashem for his help, and Hashem is my goal. Avodah Zarah, I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to mention it. And the lot that Hashem gave me, that's what I want. Hashem is the one who gives me counsel. And he's chastised my kidneys. They chastise me at night. Hashem is. I place Hashem before me always. He's always on my right. I'm not going to falter. And I rejoice both my heart and my glory and my flesh, because you're not going to leave me to go down to the grave. So but it doesn't mean dafka in the physical. Hashem's going to save me. The whole thing is very spiritual over here. So
excuse me, before you get to the last pasuk, how do you translate chasidcha?
The regular translation is your pious one. I don't have anything to add on that. How would you translate it?
Meaning David?
Yes, he's talking about himself. That
will not give to your pious one to see. I see. Okay, so
you will not put me into the grave. You won't let me go down to the grave. You won't forsake me.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, sometimes the Gemara in Brachas, where he said in the beginning of Brachas, talks about if David called himself a chassid or not. One place he says, "He chassidani." The Gemara says, "Did he call himself a chassid?" He was always. He says, "Shama Yigum Achayid." He knew that he was pious. Very, very many times, David HaMelech and Tillim, he knows who he is. It's not like he thinks he doesn't do it. He knows he's very loyal to Hashem, and he declares it and says, "No question about it. I don't have anything to do with Avodah Zarah. Hashem is my portion." And he always talks about how loyal he is to Hashem. And here he says
I'm sorry. I thought I was just mistranslating. I thought it was your faith, your chesed will not give for me to see the pit.
I know
that doesn't say that.
Right. The word chassid is a person who's a chassid, not chesed.
I see. Yeah. Okay. That was my.
Let me to know, inform me, give me knowledge to know the path of life. He wants to know how to live. Inform me how to live. It's fascinating. Inform me, give me knowledge of the path of life, the correct path of life. Famous psukim. Means that then I will merit to be satiated with joy before you. The pleasantness, like before he said about Ni'imim, here again, Nimos means pleasant, and the goodness, the pleasantness of being, which is on your right side, Nimos B'Mincha is going to be forever. That which has on your right side, that's called, now here you can talk about Hashem's right side. Before I spoke about Kimi, Hashem was on my right side. Here it says, in your right side is Nimos Netzach. There's Ni'imos, there's pleasantness by Hashem's right side forever. for eternity. So he's saying that that's what he wants to be zealot to. Show me the way of life in order that I should be able to eternally be before you with having sovas mochos, having satiated with happiness before you. This is one of the psukim that the Ramchal brings when he wants to say that real reward is to be connected to Hashem. So where does it say that? Of course, many times it says you'll have what to eat, you'll have health and wealth, all these things that it talks about the bracha. But the Ramchal says that the epitome of reward is to be close to Hashem. He brings one. This is one of the psukim. Sovas mochos espanecha, that I should be able to be satiated with happiness before you, espanecha, in front of you, in front of your face. That's the connection to God.
The Arizal tops off his Kriyas Shema al Amita, his nusach, with this pasuk 3
This
times.
is the last pasuk.
Yeah, it has negative. Yeah, yes, this is the last. Then it has a few. I think it's more esoteric or some things in Aramaic, and then the bracha, and then it closes with the bracha. But this is the last pasuk.
But the bracha of Hamapil.
Yeah, the last thing he finished is with the Hamapil, unlike the Nusach.
So I just see that this parak is not what people think that it's talking about a prayer for the dead. It does say the one pasuk in pasuk 10, Kilosa Zodas Nafshi L'Shovas Yidem Chasid Chalei Shochas, that don't let my soul go to the grave. Yeah, they say by a funeral the body is going to the grave, but it means that he shouldn't be left to Gehenna, he shouldn't be lost. The pasuk obviously is talking about he's alive. So the Eni Orachayim, he's talking about a person who's alive and he wants to go on the right path. Thank you. You don't say the Eni Orachayim 3 times. Thank you.
And then he's got some, this seems to be a combination of the. This is Aramaic here.
Yes, you go. Okay, so I see the pasuk is very much praying to Hashem to help him to go on the right path. That seems to be the last pasuk. Seems to be what he's saying. Avodah zarah is nothing. In the beginning, interesting. I mean, Shamreni Yelki Chasisi Bach. The first line in the pasuk maybe takes on a different nuance once you see the rest of the parak. It isn't that he's running away from his enemies and Hashem guard me because maybe I would have thought so on the first pasuk. I would have thought that's what's happening. But once you see the rest of the parak, it doesn't sound like he's running away from his enemies.
No, it's almost the way I'm looking at it is that he's asking in humility. He says, "Don't give me any reward. I'm not worthy." The second verse.
In the first part,
even the first verse. I put all my mercies from you. I put everything in you, and then
Shamreni.
Right.
What's he asking Hashem to?
He's humbling himself. He's asking.
Shamreni means guard me.
Guard me.
What's he guarding? From what? From what? Usually I see such a pasuk, I think that his enemies are running after him.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't
that's
see
typical and many times.
But I don't see it here. In this parak, I don't see it.
I'm saying at the end of the parak, he senses Hashem has answered me.
What does that have to do with Shamreni?
No, in the beginning of the parak, he's pleading humbly.
For what?
For shmira.
From what?
From troubles.
So I don't see the connection to the rest of the parak.
I'm saying the rest of the parak is already a sense that he's been answered.
You can't make the one pasuk has nothing to do with the rest of the parak. There has to be some connection. You have to say you can't make the first pasuk is guard me from my enemies, and then he all talks about Hashem. I don't care about avodah zarah. My lot is with you. I put Hashem before me constantly and show me the way of life that I should have. Sovas mochos espanecha. One pasuk talks about running away from the enemies. I don't see it. I'd like to make that. I think the first pasuk has to be connected.
I don't know why. I see that there's a dynamic in every parak.
Every parak I see, the whole parak is usually one theme. If there's not,
I mean, yes, I mean it might have a general theme, but it's
one pasuk out of no place that it doesn't have to do with the subject.
It starts off that he's down, he's out,
but it's not.
But then he suddenly sees, well, Hashem is everywhere, and Hashem is taking his real. Then he calls himself a chassid.
Okay, I don't see the connection.
In the beginning, he doesn't see himself as a chassid. He's begging for mercy.
You have to beg yourself for mercy. Well, also when you see yourself as a chassid, also he's not asking. At the end of the parak, also he's not asking in his own merit. He's not saying that. I'm just pointing out that the first pasuk says, "Guard me because I trust in you." The whole parak seems very.
Except for the first verse.
The first pasuk, yeah. The beginning he says that.
I didn't really see it as a problem. It was I see David is constantly
He doesn't throw things out of one thing there, one thing there. He's always a theme. Everything's he has other poems where he talk about guarding you from the
So
enemies.
can I ask you a question? When you daven, just doesn't sometimes you start in a place of need and begging and asking, for real help in a certain situation. You should always have what you need. That's first of all, and then at some point, doesn't it ever happen that in the tefillah itself, you are aware of Hashem's presence and you feel a great exhilarant ashpah coming down on you, and you change your way of asking?
It's not the
Don't you
subject. I'm
feel
just,
that?
okay, not the subject. I'd rather not answer the question that doesn't have. The question is, what is the first pasuk connected to the rest of the parak? If the whole parak is very, put it this way, if the whole parak is very spiritual, Bakasha, what does it have to do with the first pasuk? That doesn't sound like that. Shemreni Yalki Chasisi Bach. If it doesn't bother you, it's fine. But I don't see a connection.
That's all.
You
I
see,
see it as a
I'm asking that there seems to be a point about,
shtalshelus of inyanim. At first, I'm in great need.
he's running away from his enemies. What's happening?
Well, David's always running away from his
Yes,
enemies.
I don't
The
think-
full, its Tehillim is full of it. There's almost nothing that doesn't have a mention of
Okay.
that. Almost nowhere in Tehillim. There's a few places. That's why Mizmor Todah is Yotzim in a cloud.
It's not true.
There's nothing negative. It's
There's,
all pure gratefulness.
I'm not sure what he's saying, but hope to understand. But okay, just to sum up the paragraph, we have to stop already. So the general subject seems how he wants to cling to Hashem. He's not following after Avodah Zarah. He's only wants Hashem, and Hashem is his lot. He places Hashem before him constantly. He asks Hashem to show him the way of life, that he should be able to eternally be before Hashem. And the beginning maybe needs more clarity what the connection is to the whole parak. If anybody has any input, please, we have a minute or two.
Where's Leib think? Where's Ben Yamin think? Is he there?
Everybody's here, everybody's thinking.
I
Say
think
something.
I think it's like the Rav is saying, I think that he's giving a karsatov to Ribono Shel Olam. And of course it's on many different, it's on many different levels. He's talking at a spiritual level that, regarding the neshama and other aspects. But the general idea that the Rav said, that David HaMelech is saying that he's happy with the portion he has. And the beginning seems to just tie in with that. And it doesn't seem any different than the way the Rav is expressing it.
But I have difficulty with Shomreni. Like, what is he asking Hashem to guard me? Guard me. What is he? In which aspect of protection is he asking for? That's not-
Hashem v'yisparecho.
right. So Shomreni. So
Part of the
what
bracha is to ask for shmira.
The shmira for what?
For the
So you're gonna
brachas that
say-
he has.
Yeah. So which bracha? So it means in the spirit, if the whole
The whole-
parak is very.
The whole parak.
So that would mean that. Yeah, so it means that even in the spiritual, if that would be true, if everybody agrees that's going on the spirit, the pasuk parak is very spiritual. So that would mean that even in the spiritual point, he's asking that Hashem should guard him in the spiritual, that he shouldn't falter spiritually, he shouldn't do Avera, shouldn't falter Avodah Zarah. Maybe if that would be a possibility, so that's good. Okay.
Rabbi, Kash and Teretz. That the first line is a Kash and the rest of the song is
It's
a
not
Teretz.
it's not a kasha. It's Shomreni. It's a play that Hashem should.
No, Kasha on why does it have this form? Why does it form in such a way? And then the rest of the Tehillah is the Teretz. Because I trust in you
I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess I have to.
Okay.
I have to
Thank you,
find out.
everybody. Have a great day. See you
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Rav.
Very much. All the best. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Thank you, Benjamin and Yaakov.
Thank you. I'm David.
Yeah.